I'm Madeline Harvey. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Do you ever run out of breath when you sing? Do you ever feel like your high notes are really breathy and airy and you just can't figure out why? Do you ever get tired after singing, even if you sang with really great technique? Well, we're gonna develop more breath control today, and we're not even gonna talk about your lungs. So if you like today's video, be sure to give it a thumbs up or click that subscribe button below. I would love to see you here more often. The video that you're about to see was taken as a clip from a live lesson that was shot earlier today. If you'd like to watch the entire live and participate in the exercises, then I invite you to click on that join button below and become a member of this channel. As a member, you'll have exclusive access to all of our lives that we do every Monday and Thursday at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. Now, if that's really early for you or really late for you, depending on where you are, never fear. You'll have access to our members only area with over 70 hours worth of voice lessons. So again, just click that join button below. It's only $4.99 a month, and your contribution helps to support our channel. That way we can continue to deliver awesome content for you. You ready to get started? Here we go. Do you ever run out of breath when you sing? Do you ever feel exhausted after you sing, like you just can't catch your breath? Do you hear your breath in your sound? Do you sometimes feel extremely vocally fatigued after you sing, but you know that you weren't singing hard and you know that you didn't have a lot of tension in your voice? So let's give a thought to this for just a second, because that's a lot of questions. We're going to answer what's going on with that today, and we're going to get in there, as we always do, isolate a muscle, and be right on track with that. I lost my train of thought there. But I just want to say, I noticed that we have some new members, and I'm so glad that you're here. Thank you so much for being a part of our musical family. We do these lives every Monday and Thursday at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. So we're super, super glad that you're here, and continue coming. We are a big old family, and we love each other. So to answer, what do you guys think is going on when you run out of breath when you sing? Is it a function of lung capacity? Do we need to work on more breathing techniques? What about when we hear the breath in our sound? Is that also a lung thing? Do we need to just take deeper, fuller breaths? The answer to that is no. No. Hold on, I'm just going to shut this door real fast. And I want to pose it to you as an actual image. So imagine that you have a balloon, and you've blown up the balloon, and your fingers are sort of pinching the top, and you have the air in the bottom of the balloon. So it's there. However tense you are, I will use that word precisely, at the top is what contains the air in the balloon. Okay? So it's up to us to be able to control that accurate amount of tension right at the top of the balloon, because if we get loose, that's our word, if we get really loose at the top of the balloon, all the air comes out. And this actually can be very, very dangerous for the voice, because we always have spectrum. Everything falls on a spectrum, doesn't it? We've got two opposing behaviors, two extreme differences in behaviors that people tend to fall in when they're singers. Over here, we've got the pushers. They tend to be really loud, very in your face, and their thought is that they can push, they can overcome whatever weakness or whatever challenge that they have in their voice simply by pushing their voice. Well, that's bad, but that is an extreme behavior. And then over here, we have sort of the hesitators, the people that sort of draw back a little bit. And that kind of creates what's the word I'm looking for? A fluctuation, too big of a fluctuation in the vocal tract with respect to air and pressure. So the vocal cords are not getting what they need in order to make a nice consistent sound. So those are our two spectrums. We got too much and too little. Now this is always a game of Goldilocks. We're always looking for a state of homeostasis. That means interior balance. So we want to get that just right, just right. So let's go back to our balloon analogy. Our vocal cords are the pinchy pinch at the top of the balloon. If the vocal cords are loose, there goes your air. But we don't want them to be too tight either. Ooh. Because if they're too tight, that causes the vocal tract to collapse, and that can cause a lot of what's called muscle tension dysphonia, which does create injury. But so too does loose cords. And I want to use the term vocal cord atrophy, but that's actually a vocal condition, so we won't use that. But the idea is that the vocal cords are kind of lazy. They're not getting what they need. So what's the medicine? What do we need in order to get right in that middle at that just right? Well, we're gonna do a little bit of pressurizing of the larynx. We're gonna hold our breath and do some holding breath exercises to feel the timing. That's what we're looking for, the timing of the cords close and the pressure arrives. The cords close and the pressure arrives. We need to kind of get that timing just right. And that's what, yes, Melissa, that will give us much more control. But I do want to kind of encourage a little bit of caution, just because we are going to be working with one of my favorite consonants, which is the consonant of G, G. I love this one. And I don't want you to think aggressive about it. I mean, little baby aggressive, but I don't want you to scream or any of that today. So that's why we're going to do some hold breath exercises first. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to do, let me pull up my metronome, 75 beats per minute. Hear that okay? Now this is an interesting combination. It's not like our straw work where we breathe in and breathe out continuously. This is holding. So we're going to take a breath, and if you want to, you can vocalize the holding of the breath. Now, I want you to really think little vocalization. I don't want big glottal, like that. That causes the vocal cords to be rigid. We want more of like that sort of sound. So like, we want that kind of sound. But you don't have to. I'm gonna be using the G, like no sound at all. No sound at all on the G. I like the G because it pressurizes the right amount of pressure, sort of under the vocal folds and on top of the vocal folds, because you'll feel that there's a little pressure in the back of your tongue, right in that vocal tract here too. Now that's just my personal preference. You don't have to do that, but that's what we're doing. Either or like you're gonna say the word G or the sound G, but you don't actually let it go. Okay, so that's the what. Let's do the how long. 15 counts of solid hold breath pressure. This will pressurize that larynx, and it will keep your vocal cords in a state of closure with some form of authority. Now there's no pressure being pushed through the cords, so we're gonna be good on that. We just wanna pressurize it to kind of liven them up, wake them up if our cords have a tendency to be on the looser end. So we're gonna go 15 counts of hold, then we're gonna go 7 counts of a controlled release. On the count of 8, we breathe, and then we repeat the process. I know that sounds like a lot, but let's give it a try. I'm gonna snap, okay? So I'll give us 4 snaps to prepare, then we're gonna hold for 15, controlled release on the count of 7, and then we're gonna breathe again on the count of 8. Okay, here we go, ready? Now, I'm not left-handed, so that was really hard for me to count. But can you feel hold for 15, controlled release for 7, and then breathe on the count of 8. Here we go. And we're just gonna keep doing this for probably like a minute to a minute and a half. It's not gonna be hard at all. I might even push us to 2 minutes for a good exercise. So here we go, ready? good, good, good. Now, yeah, hear that projection that's just naturally happening. Could you guys feel that when you went, the vocal cords closed and that pressure was just contained for that 15 counts? Feel that okay? Yeah, you will start to see veins popping out. Now that's not tension, you're not doing anything wrong with that. That's just laryngeal, like blood flow getting into the larynx. Yeah, to just maintain that closed position. So it's really, really important to make sure that you get that timing of close the cords and apply the air at the same time. The best way to do that is just holding breath exercises, okay? Now we're gonna do something really tricky. And I actually wanted to call today's video like the singing mistake everyone makes, because it is something that everyone forgets to focus in on. And that is your onset of your sound. The very first note sets the stage for how everything else in that phrase is gonna happen. So if you don't have that pressure and that closure perfect on the very first note, there's no way that that's going to be as good as we know that it can be. So we're going to practice an onset, and we're going to do a G, hold it for like 2 or 3 counts. Let's be precise. Let's hold it for 4 counts, and then we'll just release this on the sound. So let me give you an example of what I mean. So I'm going to go Now, we don't have to get too cerebral about this. There's nothing else that you have to do. You don't have to go, you don't have to just release the air. That's all you have to do. That's why I like the G so much. The tongue lifts, and in lifting, it pressurizes the entirety of the vocal tract. So that's a good thing. That's a very good thing. And you're sustaining that pressure, or you're containing that pressure, should I say. And then when you're ready for the voice, you're just going to release the G. Ga, and that's it. You're not going to force it. You're not going to, none of that. It's just a nice release. Just lower the tongue. You'll be all right. So let's give that a try. 4 counts. Actually, let's start on F. Ga, everybody okay with that? It's my favorite note. So we're gonna G, hold for 4, then release on the note. And let's hold it out for 4 just to be symmetrical. Here we go. Ga. Good. Now you notice like ga feels a little extra, doesn't it? It will lighten up as we go higher. Let's give it a try. Ga. Good. Ga. Good. Ga. Good. Ga. Ga. I just love this exercise so much because you don't have to think about placement. You don't have to think chest voice mix, head. What am I doing? You don't. The vocal tract is pressurized. All you have to do is lower your tongue and exhale. That's it. That's it. Let's try that one more time. Ga. 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 Yeah, you feel how ready. The voice is ready. When all you do is lower the tongue. Ga. That air pressure is already there. Those vocal cords are already closed. So you don't have to go ga, try to close them, or ga, you don't have to over squeeze. It's like that perfect Goldilocks onset. Here we go. Ga. Ga. Good. On your own. Ga, 2, 3, 4. Ga, 2, 3, 4. Ga. Yeah. Ga. Ga. It's there. It's coming out. It's coming out. Now, notice how when that air pressure is there, it was a tiny bit squawky when I let it go. Ga, ga. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that because I'm not reaching. I'm not squeezing. I'm not doing any of those things. It's just a matter of refining how much pressure is actually necessary. So instead of wobbles, you're going to get sort of more of squawks, like my voice just did. Let's try that one again. Hear that chord? Ga! Those chords are closed. I'm not going ga. That's loose chords. That's really loose chords. It's so dangerous. And I'll tell you a story. I just experienced this myself like a few days ago. So I'll tell you a story here in a little bit. Here we go. Good. Ga! Good. Ga! 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 Good. Now that's just the first note. That first note, we're just doing individual pitches, so that's going to let us know what it's going to feel like as it moves through the rest of the sound. So now we're going to mimic what you may encounter as a musical phrase, but we're going to keep our intervals really, really narrow, because I don't want you to have to worry about pressurizing an onset and freaking out about range or anything like that. So now that we've got an onset up to F, we went 2 full octaves. So that's really good, 2 full octaves. You may have to practice with this daily so you can iron out your squawks. Ga! That was so much better. Ga! So much better, so much better. So now let's add additional notes mimicking a musical phrase in an additional exercise. So we're going to start at the same spot. We're probably going to work the same 2 octave range. And we're going to do that 1, 2, 1, 2, 1 exercise that I love so much. Now, because we held our breath first and we pressurized on the first exercise, let's see what we can do without that. Let's see if we can make it a little faster. Because in a song, we don't have that kind of time. So we've got to train our voice to be really good and dexterous. That means it's doing something complicated, but it's doing it relatively quickly and easily. So let's try our F again. We're going to go.